Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today I am here to give you guys my full review of both Dragon Ball Super Chapter 65 and 66. Yes, both Chapter 65 and 66. If you're wondering why I'm reviewing both chapters, it's because, and I'm only mentioning this in case anyone who's watching this has missed my previous videos, the ones that I did where I covered the early spoilers for the chapter, for chapter 66 specifically. In case you haven't watched those, I mentioned in those videos that I'd be reviewing both chapter 66 and 65. So, now that you've gotten the context, let's just go ahead with the review, which I'm hoping this won't be all that long because I don't really have that much to say. There really isn't anything for me to cover because I covered most of it in the videos that I already did. But in case you're watching this video and you didn't watch the other videos, here I am, and I'm gonna give you my full thoughts on both of these chapters. And I'm gonna spend most of the time talking about chapter 65 chapter 66, not 65, because I feel like everyone already knows what happens there and they don't really need me to recap that for them. So basically what ended up happening, or here are my basic thoughts on chapter 65. I was not a fan, and if you've spent any amount of time on the internet with anyone discussing chapter 65, then, well, you should already know the reason why. Okay, that chapter was absolute garbage. Everything in it was contrived as hell. It all felt like the writer having no idea how to naturally progress the story in order for him to make happen what he wanted to happen. So he made up all of these contrived events just so the story could happen the way he wanted it to happen. That's what that chapter felt like. Everything that happened there felt like it was so contrived, and it felt like he purposely forgot events that happened in the past, just completely disregarding character development, specifically when it comes to Goku. It's just, again, you don't need me to recap what happened. You guys should already know what happened. It's just, it was absolutely dumb, and I did not like that chapter. That chapter was absolutely fucking terrible. So, let's just go ahead with chapter 66. Now, like I said earlier in the video, everything that happens in this chapter, I've pretty much already covered it in the full spoiler video that I already did. So, I'm not going to spend too long recapping what happened. If you watched that video, you already know the events of the chapter. Pretty much everything happened exactly as it was mentioned, and nothing really new happened. But I do have some things that I just want to touch up on when it comes to this chapter. Just a few small details. So first of all, first thing I want to talk about is, and this is covering Goku in his MUI, the fact that he's now pretty much perfectly mastered Ultra Instinct. Now I know a lot of people have said that, or they've criticized Goku getting mastered Ultra Instinct at this point in the story, when it seemed like the story is nowhere near concluding. A lot of people are worried that, Goku is pretty much going to be borderline, like, unstoppable. Like, he has Ultra Instinct now, so like he's unbeatable now. Well, it turns out that's not the case. Even if he does have Master Ultra Instinct, he can still lose, as you saw in this chapter. I mean, he needed everyone else's help in order to beat Moro. If it wasn't for everyone else, Goku pretty much technically lost that fight. So I'm hoping this will put to rest all of the criticism, that you're probably going to see online, where a lot of people are going to go, well, Goku has Master Ultra Instinct now, he's pretty much unstoppable. Like, there's no villain that's going to be strong enough to beat him. This chapter just pretty much proved that that is completely false. Okay, another thing that I kind of want to touch up on, just a small little detail that was mentioned by one of the characters. It was mentioned by Krillin specifically, and he said this, which I thought was really weird, and honestly it doesn't affect the story much, but it just feels like it's a bit of bad writing, in my opinion, or a bit of writing that honestly doesn't make a lot of sense, and I just want to bring it up. Krillin says, what happens is, Yamcha mentions that, hey, why don't we take this chance to get out, leave the planet, and we can just use the Super Dragon Balls in order to bring the Earth back. And Krillin says that wouldn't do anything because when Moro explodes, he'll take the entire galaxy with him. And I was sitting there reading this, and I'm wondering, like, wait a minute, what does that have to do with anything? I mean, even, okay, yeah, the galaxy explodes, which is bad, but, like, how does that affect the Super Dragon Balls? Like, did he forget that the Super Dragon Balls are scattered all throughout both Universe 6 and 7? So how would that affect the Super Dragon Balls. Like, how would that doesn't make any that doesn't make any goddamn sense. So I was reading it and I'm wondering, like, wait a minute, that this makes no goddamn sense. Why was this even mentioned? Like, why this doesn't make any goddamn sense. Anyway, it's just a little detail that I thought I'd bring up. It's just, it doesn't affect the overall chapter and the official quality. So let me talk about, or give you guys my actual thoughts on various aspects of the chapter. So one thing that I always like to talk about when I'm reviewing, especially the Dragon Ball Super manga is, one thing that I and I'm pretty sure a lot of people have criticized when it comes to Toyotaro is, his artwork, or the way he lays out his manga pages. Usually the page would seem really busy, and it seemed like there'd be no natural flow to these pages. Like, it wouldn't flow cleanly from one panel to the next. It would feel like you would have to spend way too long on one page just to understand exactly what's happening, even though you understand that when you read manga you're supposed to read from right to left, but it feels like the panels are just all over the place, and you would spend way too long on one page in order to get the information that page is trying to convey. But I feel like lately, reading the chapters, Toyotaro has gotten a hell of a lot better when it comes to his paneling, when it comes to his layouts. It feels like it's a lot better, it's a lot cleaner, it's a lot smoother. It's just like you just have to look at the page quickly and you get what you need, and of course you get everything else when you read the actual dialogue. It's like he has gotten a lot better, and I do want to give him credit for that. I just credit for actually improving the art. So credit when credit's due. So other than that, I thought that the chapter again flowed smoothly from beginning to end. Didn't need to spend too long on any single page, which is always a good thing. Now, something else that I kind of want to touch up on, which I don't know if this is going to come up later in the story, but I feel like they wouldn't have brought this up if maybe this is going to come up later in the story. So in this, something that happens here is that Vegeta, basically it's mentioned to him by Piccolo saying that, your technique, the whole force spirit fission, can you basically do the opposite, where you can take energy from other beings and collect it and then give it to someone else? And Vegeta says yes, he could. And Piccolo says, okay, take our energy and give it to Goku. And they do that, but it doesn't work, because apparently in order to act, he once he gets the energy, he's able to go into Super Saiyan Blue, but not enough to go into Ultra Instinct. And he says he needs more divine energy. And he says it's not enough, and Dende even says, I'm sorry, my divine energy is still developing, it's not enough to help you. Which is a nice bit of a bit of context when it comes to Dende. Although I feel like at this point he should have developed a lot further, because he seems like he's still the same as he was back when he was brought back in the Cell Saga. It's just, I don't know, I feel like he should be a lot further along by now than when he was back then. So anyway, out of nowhere they get a large, and I mean large, ball of divine energy, to the point where even Vegeta's like, he's like, he had to do a double take, and he's wondering, like, where the hell did all of this divine energy come from? And then in the next page it cuts to Oob. So all of that divine energy comes from Oob. Now, in case anyone's wondering or is confused about what happened, let me remind you that way earlier in the story, we got this bit of information that we didn't know before. So apparently, if you guys remember, in the original Dragon Ball manga, the story goes is that when Majin Buu was first created, of course he attacked the Supreme Kais of Universe 7, and he basically came up against the Grand Supreme Kai, the Dai Kaioshin, and he absorbed him. Now, sorry about that. Now, what ended up happening is when he absorbed him, that's when he became Fat Buu, or became the Majin Buu that first showed up in the original Dragon Ball manga, the fat version. And basically what ended up happening is that it turns out, we found out that the Daikaioshin actually wasn't even at full power, because even earlier, before, when Moro was first sealed, first got caught by the Galactic Patrol, what ended up happening is that the Daikaioshin used a technique in order to separate Moro from his energy, in order to weaken him to the point where he can be caught by the Galactic Patrol and then put in prison. But unfortunately, using that technique drained him of most of his divine energy. And so that by the time he fought Majin Buu, he wasn't even at full power. But then it seems like when he was absorbed, all of that divine energy must have come back. But when Majin Buu split himself into, both his evil version and his good version, the evil version inherited all of that divine power, which probably explains why the evil version was so goddamn strong. Because he inherited all that power. But now, when that version died, remember, he was reincarnated into Oob, and Oob inherited all that divine energy. So that's pretty much where all that divine energy came from, in case anyone may have forgotten that little bit of detail. And to me, I found this interesting because, and I mentioned this in the full spoiler review video that I made, is that this does add some context, excuse me, it does add some context to the fight between Goku and Oob at the end of Z. Now, granted, none of us are stupid. We all know that Goku was in no way fighting at full strength. But it does explain why Oob was even able to sort of, in some way, be able to put up a fight against, Goku, is because he does have all of that power in him. Now, granted, he still probably needs to train and learn how to use it, and that's where Goku comes in. So just something I thought was a little bit interesting. It doesn't, well, I mean, in a way, it does kind of retcon the end of Z, but it doesn't retcon it to the point where it's almost like it's not a bad retcon. I guess what I'm trying to say, like, you know how there are good retcons and there are bad retcons. Like the whole Patara earring things, that was a bad retcon. The whole, it went from being permanent to, it only lasts an hour for non-godly, beings. That was a bad retcon. This is an okay retcon. Like, it doesn't 100% completely recontextualize the ending of the ending of Z. It does add a little bit more context, but it doesn't completely recontextualize it, if that makes sense. So that's basically everything that I kind of wanted to talk about when it comes to that aspect of the chapter, or that little detail that we got from the story. So, is there anything else that I kind of want to talk about? Let's see, I already talked about the artwork. I already talked about the paneling. I talked about that little detail with Super Dragon Balls and Oob. Okay, so I don't really have anything else other than this is the official ending of the Goku versus Moro fight, or I guess you could call it the official end of the arc, even though we know there's technically one more arc before we officially start the new one. I guess you could call that more of an epilogue chapter or an in-between chapter, to where we get that one little chapter where we're sort of cleaning up the messes, and then I'm guessing that by the end of that chapter, the December issue of that we're going to get in December, I'm guessing that in the very last pages we're going to get a bit of a tease for the next arc. Now, what that arc could be, maybe it has something to do with, Beerus and his disappearance, which, by the way, does get mentioned in this chapter. Beerus and Whis, right as Beerus is about to help, Whis says, no, we have to go because the Grand Priest found out about what happened to Beerus and he wants to talk to them about it. So I'm wondering if maybe that was sort of a bit of a hint as to what happens in the next arc, or maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see when the next chapter comes out, and hopefully we'll get a small teaser towards the end, giving us a bit of a hint as to what will happen in the next arc. Okay, so I think I've said everything I wanted to say. Thank you so much for watching and or listening, guys. If you like what I do here, and if you want more videos of me talking about the Dragon Ball Super manga, all you have to do is click on the like button, share the video, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What did you think about this chapter? Or I guess since this is technically the end, what did you think about the arc in general? Let me know all of that in the comment section down below. And please remember to subscribe. And if you do subscribe, remember to click on the bell icon. That way you'll be notified whenever a new video gets posted on my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I highly appreciate your support. And a big thank you to everyone who's subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much. And if you're watching this and if you haven't subscribed yet, maybe I finally earned your subscription. Okay, that's it. I'm going to end this video right here. So please remember to stay safe and take care of yourselves. And please join me for the next video. Bye for now.